Hi there, I'm Michael Park. I lead channels and partnerships for ServiceNow. Today, what I want to talk to you about is the AI platform for business transformation. We're going to do a whiteboarding session on our AI platform strategy to get you all comfortable with this new world of AI enterprise architecture. And I'm going to explain to you how the single platform, the single architecture, and the single data model of ServiceNow is uniquely positioning ServiceNow at this point in time to help all of you build new businesses that are AI-led with all kinds of new services and capability that is truly going to change the next decade of enterprise software. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of you. Many of you have come up through the enterprise software ranks deploying, we know how hard it is to integrate at the data level, a lot of custom coding, a lot of rigidity because the systems and the technology weren't good enough and we had to tie all these things together. A lot of these systems at an application level were really heavily pinned to a single database, which was derived from a problem in HR or a problem in finance or a problem in ERP or a problem in CRM. And the reality is in this new world where mobile is there and we have almost, omnipresent, ambient compute going on around us and AI coming in, the need is changing. Everybody's going for the easy button. And so for an employee, we need to integrate workflows. We need to be more agile in the delivery of multiple systems into a single user experience. And we need to do the same for the customer. The mess is in the middle. It's not just about front office. It's how you bring the front office, the mid office, and the back office together into a unified experience that the customer is super satisfied with. Oftentimes in the future, not even needing L1 or L2 support. And not even needing the service because the insight of the platform itself is smart enough to proactively predict what's going to happen and solve it before the customer even needs to engage. So now we're going to jump in and we're going to show you how ServiceNow is differentiated in this regard. Okay, we're going to cover the AI platform architecture whiteboard. So here we go. If we look at the enterprise AI architecture today, generally it falls into three layers. There's the data layer, there's the tooling layer for AI, and then there's a workflow experience layer. So what's unique about ServiceNow is starting at the data layer is the ServiceNow data model is a single physical data model transcending all system of engagement. So the power of this is that we can represent multiple vertical industries, multiple buying centers, all from one data model. If you compare and contrast that to other incumbents that have been in the enterprise software market for a long time, in order to continue their growth, they acquired companies. And while they built a nice experience at the workflow layer, the underlying data models were never integrated. So you have multiple physical data models that need to be synchronized and coordinated, which creates tech debt for those vendors before it even goes out the door. So once a customer puts that into production, it gets pretty complicated, especially when you have a world of agentic AI that is hitting that data all the time. So this is one of the unique powers, is that single data model really presents everything about the system of engagement and can connect to multiple data sources. So at the operational level, we have Integration Hub. An Integration Hub connects out to different sources of transactional systems of record. This can be SAP, this can be Salesforce, and other systems. And what we do is we manage over 200 different integrations today, where we take the accountability to integrate the tables in these systems out of the box into the ServiceNow data model. And this integration hub can exchange synchronously and asynchronously data and information at the table level. So oftentimes what you'll see is the asset master database will be sitting inside SAP. The customer master will be sitting in Salesforce, but through Integration Hub, we can synchronize those master data and capture the relationship of the asset to the employee in the system of engagement of how all services are managed around those things. And that's how we tie operational systems together and then render that up into the ServiceNow workflow. The new capability we've now added to this is in the area of analytical data. And in this area, we've developed this capability called zero copy and a capability called indexing. Zero copy allows us to go into other data sets like data lakes. So this can be Snowflake, it can be Databricks, and others. We've announced Oracle and GCP also coming later this year. And then indexing allows us to go out to other data sets of unstructured data. This can be things like SharePoint or other document repositories. And this is important because what it allows us to do is access these data sets without bringing all the data into the ServiceNow environment. Other systems will basically say, hey, bring all your data into our system and we'll help you from there kind of put AI against it. But we think that's actually not cost effective. We think it's inefficient. So by doing this, I can actually essentially do a remote distributed SQL query from this layer all the way into other data sets, query the data, and bring the inference from our LLM layer out. So the data is fueling this layer up, both at the operational level as well as at the analytical level. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have high performance, capability here because the AI agents are always going to be running at this data. So what we've done here is you might have heard of something called RaptorDB. And RaptorDB is basically a move that's moving from a traditional row-based storage mechanism to a column store. So the column store is actually enabling us to query the data within the native database much faster. You're going to see 5 to 10x querying performance coming out of the RaptorDB as customers upgrade the instance into the ServiceNow capabilities. And this is super powerful because, again, the reason we're doing it is as the AI comes online in the platform layers above it, that agentic AI is always going to be hitting it. It needs a high performance way to go out to the data, both on the analytical side and the operational side, whether that's posting transactions into other systems of record or querying data analytically to get inference from it. The last layer of what we have here is actually called the knowledge graph. And the knowledge graph is essentially a semantic model that defines and predicates the relationship of these information sources from the data model itself. And this is really important because what it essentially becomes is a navigation map. So as we build more integrations, this navigation map gets extended. And the navigation map, when the AI inference and the platform layer of tools is hitting it, basically tells the agent where to go get data so that it efficiently performs the inference in the relationship of the data that's sitting both within ServiceNow as well as outside of ServiceNow. So all of this in ServiceNow is called Workflow Data Fabric. And it represents the data layer of the ServiceNow platform. Now this layer, isn't designed to compete against, MuleSoft, which Salesforce charges separately for, or for, Microsoft Data Fabric, which is a much broader construct of the entire enterprise, or AWS's zero copy data. This is designed solely for the purposes of providing agility at the workflow experience level for how ServiceNow activates workflow capabilities on top. So the platform owner gets the immediate benefit of this capability, which allows them to move more cost effectively, more efficiently in pulling these things together to fuel the AI platform layer. Okay, so we've now covered the data layer. Let's now move up to the AI and workflow tooling layer. If you think about where we've been for the last 10 years, we built a $10 billion business the last 20 years actually in how we do workflow automation. And so the essence of those capabilities came from workflow tools. We developed things like Service Catalog, like flows, like playbooks. And these are capabilities that help us define how a procedure of a workflow, that's deterministic. A workflow goes from A to B to C to D. These tools help deliver that in a more declarative manner. No coding required. You can kind of assemble it using the tools. Then we added capability over time that was like adding predictive intelligence. And with predictive intelligence, we incorporate things like AI ops, machine learning, using the single data model to actually look for insights in a more proactive way, using pattern recognition. So the predictive intelligence makes things go, insight to action in a better way. And then we added more automation capability. And the automation capability comes in the form of things like task mining, process mining, robotic process automation. And last year, what we did was we added a new set of capabilities around LLM skills. And what we did there was we worked with Hugging Face using StarCoder 2.0, and we RAG engineered our own LLM directly into the platform out of the box, which was moving against the vectorized data of the data model itself to create a set of out-of-the-box skills called Now Assist. And so what that is capabilities like, summarization capability, closing a knowledge base incident automatically, and things like that, automatically generating code for the sysadmin developers. So these skills are actually new, and the beauty is we've integrated this capability natively into the platform, so a customer that's on the most modern release of our product sets can just activate the AI within what they're already running and go off to the races in the application of Gen AI. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing we added here was something called Skill Kit, which allows a customer or partner to bring in a third-party LLM and actually leverage that to build new skills that can be fed into the workflow layer. What we announced at Knowledge 2025 was moving from this layer to a world of agentic AI. And what we did was we announced a series of AI agents. And AI agents are single-purpose agents that literally are designed to do one thing. Let's call it IT incident research, okay? If you have an agent for IT incident research, what an agent is comprised of is the capability of the incident research itself, combined with access to the knowledge graph on where to go to get the right data for the AI inference, combined with an LLM inference model to go do the research and come up with the answer, combined with automation and intelligence to learn and do things repeatably well. And so the combination of these capabilities plus the knowledge graph result in a single purpose AI agent. And what we shipped in Knowledge in May of this past year was literally hundreds of these out of the box based on all of our knowledge over the last 20 years for how we actually do service management incidents across IT, across HR, procurement, CRM, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really cool because over time now, every quarter, every release, we're going to be shipping more and more out-of-the-box agents. It's a reflection of the platform that our partners and our customers can use out of the box to get going. Now, the agents themselves are single purpose. So they're really good at what they do, but if you put them on a field, they're kind of dumb. They don't know how to play on the field. And that playing on the field is delivered or orchestrated by our AI agent orchestrator. And think about the AI agent orchestrator as a super agent. Okay, it's a new model that we built that has been trained on every feature we've ever built, every integration we've ever done. And it is the all-seeing, all-knowing, all-being agent that knows how to use these agents. So the workflow layer, human in the loop, will actually drive a signal of intent. I'm trying to do something into the orchestrator. The orchestrator will understand what that intent is and use a sequence, build a plan, a sequence of AI agents to go do the job. The AI in the loop will present back the plan to the workflow experience layer and say, is this what you want to do? And once that workflow experience layer commits to say yes, the orchestrator then puts into sequence the agents until the job is actually completed. And this is autonomous AI at work, right? So before, when we stepped into this world, we were in a deterministic workflow where we sold a workflow, it did A to B to C to D, and then we drove automation and insights against it to make it better. Then we brought in LLM skills to augment that workflow with generative AI skills to help provide even better productivity or cost takeout to that process. And now what I'm describing to you is actually taking that and going full autonomous, where components of that work or that entire work stream itself can actually be done by a series of AI agents being orchestrated by the AI agent orchestrator. Now, the challenge with the AI agent orchestrator is how to govern this. So the other element that we built in parallel to this is actually the AI control tower. And what the AI control tower is, it's integrated risk and SPM combined that's working against a new asset class called AI asset that we created in the data model. So many of you may or may not know this, but we actually do integrated risk for a lot of the major banks around the world today. And what we do is we actually take IRM and we take SPM and we basically build risk policy into the workflow. So the workflow can administer across a bank with the policy of risk built into the workflow itself, so the human being can't mess it up. So the workflow runs and engages people to do the job, and that's how they drive compliance and risk management across the enterprise. We just did the same thing with AI, right? We're taking these policies to allow you to manage and define governance, risk, compliance, security, and actual performance of any AI asset. So as long as you register the AI asset in the ServiceNow platform in the data model, you can apply the AI control tower governance over any AI asset. You don't even have to use ServiceNow's AI. So what we've done when you use our AI is we've actually already pre-plumbed that into the AI control tower. So when you're using ServiceNow's AI, you get that as a benefit. But when you want to bring in third-party LLMs or bring in other AI assets, you can easily do that and have a single lens from which legal and your CISO and compliance teams can actually access this pane of glass to really understand what's going on with all of your AI assets. And it's a very powerful tool for partners and customers alike in how to actually really mitigate and contain the risk and the governance of AI in the enterprise. Now, all this is really cool, but I don't know that we're going to be able to deliver every single agent necessary out of the box. So the other element that we've actually added here is the AI Agent Studio. And what the Studio allows you to do is in a declarative modeling environment, it allows you to select from other third-party LLMs that you might have in the enterprise that you might have built, use the selection of capabilities to build your own AI agents. So this is really powerful because you can extend and differentiate AI agent capability that's unique to you as a partner or to a customer, in addition to the AI agents that we build out of the box, and train the AI agent orchestrator in how to use both the custom-built AI agents you have, as well as the AI agents that come out of the box with ServiceNow. So this provides immense flexibility in terms of how you can use the ServiceNow platform to really drive AI-level transformation at the workflow experience level. The last element we've added is actually called the AI Agent Fabric. And the fabric is being designed, it's not shipping yet, but it'll ship later this year, is being designed as the future in a world where different protocols, MCP, Google's A2A, Microsoft's Copilot integration, this is a complex API fabric that allows us to integrate to other AI agents so that we can exchange agent-to-agent process flows from one to another. So imagine here where I might be using an AI orchestrator at the workflow level to provision a new piece of software for an end user. I have to go through a whole series of AI agents across multiple departments. You have to get approvals, I have to procure it, I might have to recollect a piece of software from another laptop that hasn't been used, I have to register it, I have to install it, I have to train the end user, and that whole process runs. But in part of that process, I might actually bump out to Copilot and go to the Copilot agent for Active Directory to do an Active Directory registration in the Microsoft stack and bring that back into that workflow seamlessly. So you can imagine the power as we grow here, because we're going to allow multiple types of agent integrations from other platforms to engage with the ServiceNow platform. And the power of this is you're bringing all the richness of our platform that's been agentified. You're getting the flexibility to build your own. You have a single pane of glass to control and govern the risk on all of this. You have the malleability to build your own agents, and you have the AI fabric, which can bring in third-party agentic agents into the ServiceNow environment or out of the ServiceNow environment as well. And the power of all this is that while you're changing and inventing and innovating at this layer, you're moving the complexity down of the data integration, and you're actually keeping the workflow experience for the end user constant. Okay, so you can actually empower the end user, not change their world, keep them working in the ServiceNow workflow environment while you're building all kinds of new capability to help them be more productive or reinventing the way a process works. So that was the AI and workflow tooling layer. This is the power layer that is fueled by the data layer. And now let's talk about how this layer powers the workflow experience. When we look at workflow experience, as I was saying earlier, a workflow experience is a deterministic process that goes from A to B to C to D. And we have done this for IT, like lots of IT, ITSM, ITOM, SecOps, risk, asset management, a lot of IT. HR, procurement, we're now moving into supply chain and finance. We're in CRM, we're with call centers, field service management. Lots of workflows we built all from a single platform. It's why we can actually turn out innovation so fast, because our R&D and product teams are working on the same platform to drive this. No tech debt, right? Very powerful. But now what we've done from one single platform, one set of tools that the partner or the customer actually uses, we've added Gen AI to complement the deterministic workflow, to get even more production, more productivity, more cost savings out of the equation. And now, we've also given you the provision to augment, add, replace, coexist with autonomous AI agents together. And ServiceNow is the only platform in the world today on one platform architecture, one data model that can actually give you a deterministic workflow, an easy way to augment that with Gen AI out of the box, and the ability to move to an agentic AI agent world using any three of these combinations from the same platform. This capability today is defined as Now Assist. So for those of you that's customers or partners that have already bought Now Assist, all this new agentic capability we talked about comes with Now Assist. It just became that much more feature rich. And the product set is growing. We're literally doubling the capability of AI every 90 days as we ship. And so what's important about this is that the customer and you as partners need to help the customer keep this architecture clean. We need to make sure that custom code, wherever it's been done in the past, is retired and you're using as much standard as you can. Because it turns out that when you turn all this on, the LLMs don't know how to read custom code. So you have to put an effort into training it. And frankly, if you wrote the custom code 10 years ago because we didn't have the functional scope, there's a high likelihood we have that functional scope in the platform today. So there's enough effort that you really need to do to clean up the platform on custom code, because that will allow you to upgrade this instance seamlessly. The average time it takes to upgrade a ServiceNow instance that isn't materially customized is a few days. Okay, let me repeat myself, a few days. Okay, the average time it takes for a legacy enterprise app to be upgraded in the ERP or the CRM space is several years. Okay, we're talking about the difference between days versus years. Can you imagine the cost savings? Can you imagine the agility you can get in transforming workflows? So the other opportunity on top of all this for our partners in particular is that we're moving up to combine different workflow capabilities to go after industry solutions. So more and more, what we expect to see our partners do is take the out-of-the-box capabilities, package them together for a vertical or a sub-vertical, and get real agile in being able to transform an industry workflow, not just within ServiceNow, but how that whole stateful workflow is powered by AI, connected through the system of engagement on a single data model, and synchronizing with the operational data that you've already got in the enterprise. Because you probably don't want to rip and replace your old ERP system that you've had in place for 4 years, or your CRM system, because those are good transactional systems of record for assets and for customers. But if you want to modernize the workflow experience of how business is going to transform, you're going to need this kind of platform flexibility. So let's take a step back and look at how this compares. If you look at this from the context of the hyperscalers, they do an amazing job at the IaaS level, at the data level. They have really strong modeling capabilities, but you basically have to build all the stateful workflow by yourself on top of those hyperscaler platforms. Okay? If you go to the other side and you look at the incumbent software players that have grown up in CRM and ERP space for the last 40, 50 years, they have really strong application logic, but because they've acquired so much, when you lift that hood, it's really ugly underneath. And so you're not going to get the efficiency off those platforms as you are with ServiceNow, because there's a lot of tech debt that goes with those physical data structures that have to be synchronized just to get the baseline applications running, because they're on different platforms, different data models. So ServiceNow is uniquely right up the middle and ready for this AI world because of the single data model, because of all the capability of the AI being built into this single platform that is already the platform that is running in 92% of the Fortune 500, starting in IT, but very quickly growing out to other areas and other markets. So this is the opportunity. And what you're going to see in the market is the market tries to position ServiceNow as, oh, it's the same as SAP Salesforce. It's an old transactional system of record. We are where we came from, but if you look at where we're going, we're more uniquely built for the future and ready now from an architecture and a technology standpoint than any other player in the market. I repeat, than any other player in the market. So don't buy the PowerPoints, right? Learn how to position this whiteboard, learn how to differentiate competitively, and show the product. Because the power of this whiteboarding session is setting the strategy, because most people don't understand it yet, and then showing the product. Because when you show the agentic AI in action and you show how we're thinking through the architecture, it fundamentally changes the game on the perception of ServiceNow and why we are the AI platform for business transformation.